The Kia Soul EV might be a bit love it or loathe it on the styling front, but with a range of 280 miles and prices from under £34,500, this pure electric hatchback promises a longer range than almost any rival despite its competitive pricing. After all, alternatives to the Kia Soul include the Nissan Leaf and the MG ZS EV, neither of which will go as far to a single charge, or you're looking at more expensive alternatives like the Kia e-Niro and the Hyundai Kona Electric, which are straying into Tesla Model 3 price range. So, is this really as good as it seems on paper, which could make it the ultimate electric family car? Or is it all style over substance? The Kia Soul EV gets its long official driving range from the same 64 kilowatt-hour battery as its sibling, the Kia e-Niro. It gets a Type 2 and CCS socket in the nose of the car that gives you access to the vast majority of public chargers. Plug into a CCS rapid charger offering a rate of 100 kilowatts or more, and the Soul will get a 20 to 80% top-up in around about 45 minutes, courtesy of its maximum 77 kilowatt charging rate. Most motorway chargers in the UK currently only deliver speeds of 50 kilowatts, which will take more like an hour. Most owners will have a home wall box installed. This will deliver a full charge into the Kia in 9 hours, at a cost of around £9 on most domestic utility tariffs. Charging overnight will help to take advantage of off-peak rates, and you can do that very easily in the Kia thanks to the settings in the car's menu or the free phone app that allows remote control of the charging and the climate control presets. All of the cables that you need to charge at home or at a public charging station are provided, as is a 7-year 100,000 mile warranty that covers the car and its battery. Now, we know that the Kia has got an official range of 280 miles, which is very impressive. It makes this one of the longest range electric cars on sale at any price. And in the real world, it is no less impressive because we're seeing it do about 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour today, and it's around about 9 or 10 degrees. It is windy, which can actually affect the range on an electric car as well. And we've done quite a bit of rural roads, a bit of town stuff, and a little bit of motorway, so it's quite varied use. And that means that it's going to do, in those conditions, just under about 230 miles. Very good, really. And if it does get much colder and you spend a lot more time on the motorway, I think you will see that dip towards 200 miles, even slightly under. But, I mean, I lived with a Kia e-Niro, which has exactly the same battery as this car, same platform, everything. And I used to see quite regularly 300 miles and up in the summer. So Kia and Hyundai have really nailed the efficiency on their electric cars. It's one of the reasons they're doing so well with their electric cars and why they're so in demand as well. So I do think that you will see the official range on this car in the summer, especially if you drive around town and this kind of thing. Not only that, but it's really nice to drive, not only because, you know, it's got 201 brake, it's got really sort of nice nippy performance, but also because Kia has got a really good brake regeneration system on its cars. So you can toggle through the 3 levels using these paddles, which is really nice because it makes things very intuitive, and it means that you can use the different levels of brake regen almost like you would an automatic gearbox in a normal car. And it has as standard an automatic setting, which means that it uses basically the same radar that it has the adaptive cruise control system on to maintain a distance from the car in front, and that means that obviously the car will automatically adjust the brake regen forces as it sees fit, and that is all very clever. On that same note, this car has got a really decent suite of driver safety aids. So it's got that adaptive cruise control, it's got blind spot, lane keep assist, rear traffic cross assist. It's got everything that you could really want in terms of driver aids, and they all combine together to give it a semi-autonomous driving mode that's very effective, I have to say. Now, this car gets 201 brake horsepower and it will do 0 to 62 in under 8 seconds. It is not a hot hatch. It doesn't feel like a hot hatch, and you never expect it to be a hot hatch. But for all that, it does actually have a really nice cohesive sort of ride and handling balance. So front wheel drive, like I said, it's got plenty of grip. The steering's nice and light, but it's got a really nice progression to it. So you always know how much grip there is at the front of the car. You can thread it down a nice road quite neatly. And it's not without satisfaction, this car, I have to say. More importantly, really, is that it's really well suited to around town as well. Nice brake feel, so you know what's going on there. And that brake regen always sort of bleeds in smoothly too. So it's very easy to know what the car's going to do and trust it. And within, you know, a few minutes of driving it, you don't really have to think about it at all. It's all very intuitive. It's exactly what you want. The ride too is pretty good. It's a little bit firm, but it's well damped enough that it never bothers you. So I actually think that's very good. And it's refined too. So even though, of course, you've got that very blocky front end of this car, there's not that much wind noise until you get up to motorway speeds anyway. And that's the thing to take away from the Soul, is that it's so easy to drive. I mean, a lot of electric cars are, but between the brake feel on this, really nice steering, it's going to be such an intimidating car for anybody, even if you're coming from a petrol or diesel car. So in that respect, it does everything you would expect of it and a little bit more. The Soul is only offered in one high-spec trim called the First Edition, which does suggest that there might be some cheaper trims joining the range, but we're not sure if or when that might happen. In the meantime, it's easy to see why you would want one of these anyway, because it's so well equipped. The only thing I would add is that there are only 3 exterior body colours: white, blue or black, all with contrast roof. Personally, I like the blue best. And also there aren't even any alloy options, so you have to have the alloy design that you see here, and personally, I am not convinced. Apart from that, everything you want is included anyway, starting with this excellent 10-inch colour touchscreen, which is quick to respond, logical to use, and includes nav with charger search function, digital radio, USB inputs, a 10-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and just everything that you want really. It's honestly one of the best systems out there, short of premium stuff in Audi and BMW. There is masses to enjoy in here too, including heated leather seats, reversing camera and reversing sensors, keyless entry, climate control, the digital driver's dials. You even get a head-up display. You really do get everything that you could possibly want in this car and a little bit more. The driving position is good too, so there's plenty of adjustment. Rear visibility isn't great perhaps, but it's not really going to bother you. And you even get full LED automatic headlights as standard too. So there really is nothing to argue with in terms of the equipment on this car. Boot space is one area where the Soul definitely loses out to more conventional hatchback or crossover alternatives such as the Nissan Leaf and MG ZS. With 315 litres to spare, it is more than enough for a small family to get by, but it is quite a short boot floor, so getting chunky buggies or sports equipment in will be a bit awkward. At least there is underfloor space that's ideal for stowing the cables, and there's also loads of rear passenger space with enough headroom back there to accommodate adults and their top hats. As with most electric cars, if you compare the Soul to petrol alternatives like the Nissan Juke and Renault Captur, it can look a bit expensive. But in the context of the other electric family cars available at roughly this price, it really is a no-brainer. Given the range, given that it's got more equipment than you can even think of, never mind actually need, given that it's a really tidy drive and a practical thing as well, then it really is the complete package. The only downside is the finance, because Kia does want some £450 to £500 or more, even with a decent £5,000 deposit. And that is pretty punchy, and I think Kia could definitely improve that. And of course that boot might not suit everybody. But if you can live with that, then the Kia Soul really is about as good as an electric family car gets. Head to DrivingElectric.com for all of the electric and hybrid car advice, news and reviews you could possibly want. And check us out on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. While you're here, don't forget to hit subscribe on our YouTube channel.